Hey, how are you? Welcome to this Global Hack Week. Sorry, I wasn't trying to guess what my camera was using, but yeah, I think I'm using the camera here of the laptop. So um, I'm not in my normal setup, so that's another thing I have to say. But hey, first, I know this may be the first Global Hack Week for many of you, so let me welcome you and remember how these global hack weeks work. It's that a lot of coaches from the mailing hacking give some streams about the specific topic of the week. This time it's generative AI. So I'll be giving you how to set up your local generative AI. For example, I think someone in the chat were asking about the next stream. Does the next one start 6 or 7 p.m.? The answer is it depends on your time zone. I know this is confusing, but hey, this is global, right? So, uh, Intro to Linux with Trouble will be starting at 10 p.m. ET time. So you need to make the correct translation. This stranger says hi. So hey, Sankalop says hello, hello, and then I remind you, please, friendly, don't forget to check in so you can win your points, right? Um, this one is for generative AI. How to set up your local generative AI part one. Yes, that's correct. And I checked in also. Perfect. Checked in. Hey, Alberto, Green Jessics. Hey, nice to see some friendly faces here. Um, Kill Me Zeph says check in. Perfect. I joined from India and it's 4:37 here. Great. For me, it's 5. So, oh, but you mean in the morning? Yeah, that's insanely in the morning, right? But because, yeah, it wouldn't make sense. It's 5 p.m. for me. Yeah. Check in. Perfect. Awesome. So let me present myself. My name is Alberto Camarena. I am your mail hacking coach from Mexico. That's where I am streaming for. And I'm so glad to be back here. I give some minutes at the beginning for you to pause the audible, but I think we are ready to start. So let's start with this session. Let me start sharing my screen so you can see it now, but in a very, very bad way. Let me change the layout for this. Okay, perfect. Now you can see it in a much better way. Um, so my current intention here is that you know with this slide that this is just part one. We have another session coming up that will be on Monday. And in that session, I plan to continue with this. Actually, I am going to be giving 6 sections, two for this local generative AI thing. Then we are going to introduce a concept that it's RAG, Retrieve Augmented Generation. So that's an interesting thing to have in mind if you're planning to do things with AI in the future. And the final one is MCPs. So the concept of our NCP or agents, how are also called, it's also very very interesting to have in mind uh, because it's a standard that will be used much more frequently in the future. And well, I don't want to spoil anything, but the idea is that you have the chance to have this knowledge in layers. So I really recommend giving a try to this generative AI part one, then the two, then we are going to rack part one and two, then MCPs part one and two, and that's it, right? Uh, Hey, I see some comments here. So, SoundCloud, do you want to partner? Already have a teammate. Oh, okay, so you're pairing up. That's amazing. Got everything I want to learn, lol, about. Yeah, I know. Actually, that's the reason I decided those were the things I wanted to give my sessions on, because I do want to learn them also. Um, to be honest, I found my way in this, like if you have the ability to explain something, then you really are mastering, right? You know something that good that you can teach about it. So I put my hands on this and I start researching and learning a lot of this. And the thing is that I have studies on machine learning and artificial intelligence, like in a very theoretical way. But these three specifically are the industry standards that are frequently used right now. And I was like, why I don't know this? Why I don't have idea what an MCP is or what racks are if I am studying artificial intelligence, right? Well, the thing is that like industry or business and the academy, there is a gap. And in sometimes they call these differently, right? uh, or some things that are like for the industry doesn't make sense at all in academy environment. So I had to figure out myself how this worked, and at some point I was like, oh, that's what they refer with that, right? Um, but hey, I'm glad you you find what you want to learn here. Um, I meant to send you for. Okay, you're talking about pairing up. So perfect. Let's continue with this session, right? I don't want to give this a big and hard explanation. I also don't want this to be like for experts. So I'm going to explain a little, but in a very surface way, what are the long language model or large language model, sorry. I'm going to give some examples so you can relate better. I'm going to show you also how they work. Again, I don't want to go deep in this. That will be a very interesting sessions. But as I talked in the previous slide, I want this to be very practical. You won't be needing any courses in or PhD degrees to understand this. You just need to understand like the flow of it, and then you can put your hands on this and get to develop. Um, yeah, but hey, I really encourage you to try to understand this deeper. Also, I know there are a lot of other coaches giving another sessions about these in a more theoretical way. So I well, the thing is just stay tuned to Global Hackweek, right? Could you please share the slides? Yeah, of course. Actually, I'm going to share with you a repo with the code, and in the repo there is the slides. I use Mark to generate the slides, so the text is in Markdown, and also in the README you can find my more resources and instructions on what we're doing here, right? So give me a second, I will share the repo. Don't worry. Actually, yeah, do worry because I always forgot to do a lot of things. So give me a second, and I'll find my my URL to repo. If I remember well, it was something like local LLM, something like that. Um, you know what? I can do this with you, actually. No need to remove from stage. Okay, give me a second. I'll open GitHub. At some point, when this loads, give me a second. I don't know. Maybe it's internet. Okay, perfect. Uh, uh, um, wow. Yeah, it's kind of not public yet. Okay, it's taking a lot of time to load. In the meantime, I can still talk you about. Okay, I think it done. Okay, perfect. Yeah, local LLM. Um, and the link is this. Oh my god, come on. I know it's not that much time, but if it's not instantly, we used to get these issues, right? Okay, perfect. I have it now. I'll push some changes at the end of the session because I made some changes from the time I prepared this. And you will see if you inspect the commits what I'm talking about. Uh, but yes, here it is. Okay, perfect. Also, if you like the content, please give it a star. I really appreciate that. Also, let's continue, right? We were talking about the explanation of how these LLMs work, an introduction to Olama or Oyama. I don't know how it's pronounced. It will depend on your base language, I think. Alternatives to this, of course, and a practical guide to of a 5 step on how we can install this and get it done, right? Finally, we are going to finalize with a session of Q&A and a wrap up, right? So let me go to the next slide, hide this comment, and okay, that was annoying. Let me move it here. Let's start. What are the LLMs or large language models? The answer is these are simply with between quotes, of course, neural networks that are trained on a massive text. Um, I don't know what I think that I had a typo here, but yeah, they are trained of massive text, so they can predict language, natural language, in a way that we can feel that we are actually talking with someone. So they can generate a text based on this, but also guess what a text is? Code, right? Uh, so given this, we are able now to interact with the neural networks in a way that it's really complex because we introduce things like tokenizations, like how to say it, uh, windows of context, memory, reasoning, and you actually, if you are like in top of what's happening lately in the world, you know that Apple released a paper proving that actually this doesn't reason, right? So there is just yeah, probability, right? Statistics and things. So that's really interesting, actually. We can have a really interesting talk about artificial intelligence in general. Actually, when I had the chance of giving these type of sessions during hackathons, I really like to talk about artificial intelligence in general because with the popularization of the term, I think artificial intelligence in late world, like 2 3 years from now, um, you see artificial intelligence in everything, right? Actually, I was in work where they used to say we do artificial intelligence, and I saw the post and the ad and everything in marketing, and I was like, we don't. Like, why are you saying that? Um, but hey, I think the marketing thing didn't want it to get like left behind because everyone was saying like, yes, of course we do artificial intelligence. The true reality right now is that if it wasn't because of the advances and the release of long language models like the GPT-3 and now Gamma, Gemma, DeepSeek, and a lot of them, a lot of companies won't be doing artificial intelligence. Uh, They have like artificial intelligence as a service in a lot of them, um, but they don't develop. You know what I'm talking about? There's a really, really small amount of companies that actually are doing artificial intelligence, and not only as a consumers. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I just want to say that let's be real about what's happening here, right? So um, in this point, and the idea of these sessions, it's not saying and critique those companies. I just want to say, like, if we are going to consume it, let's get real about it. Let's think on how we can understand what we are getting, and how we can do the most out of it, right? So the capabilities here are, of course, text generation, summarization, translations, Q&A, code generation, and it doesn't stop there. Actually, you can go all your imagination and think about every time you need something related with text and natural language processing, right? That's another big area in artificial intelligence, but long language models are great for that, right? The use cases could be chatbots. So there's the evolution of chatbots. But remember, chatbots did exist even before we know artificial intelligence was a big hit for marketing. Chatbots did exist even before the long language models. So that's what I want to point out, right? We can have assistants, can have any type of content creation related again with natural language and text. Here, this is where I introduced the rack systems because, for example, for a Q&A, and let's think this like a little bit spoiler, um, you can think of a long language model that already exists, that already knows uh, how the structure of a sentence is. And if you say something, it can know that you're not affirming, that you're asking, right? And you have the lexical structure, and there's a bunch of things that you need the network to know even before you communicate with it, right? So that's what it's already done. That's the LLM4. The last step, the last thing you need to do, it's what also you probably know the term fine tuning, right? So you just need to refine these really, really, really smart part, or the last this is wrong. This is like in terms of neural networks wrong. But if you added a last layer of okay, my business needs this specifically, right? Um, in language, it could be the rack systems to go and search for information not only in what the network was trained for, or not only with the huge amount of data it was trained with, but for specific documents. Let's say you have a menu, right? So you're in a restaurant, and you create a virtual waiter, right? And for the waiter to know what's in the menu, you need to give the data set or the database for it to get to the customer. So if the customer only arrives and you connect the, I don't know, let's say GPT-3 model with your waiter. So the waiter can now interact with the customer, and he can say things like, "Hello, how are you? What can I serve to you?" And you can give instructions like pretend you're a waiter, and those things the model can understand. The last step there, it's just giving the menu, like giving the model the idea of what the menu is, and that's why, and that's simply what rack systems are. Well, in a more efficient way, of course. That's just saying to the LLM, "Hey, this is the menu. Please." understand it and give it to the customer, because of course you can say that directly, and the LLM will understand you. But yeah, I hope you get the idea here. Hello, 404 not a found. Nice to see you again. So glad. I don't know, is this your first time in a global hack week? So fine-tune LLM is basically using the LLM for a certain specific use case. Is that right? Well, the term fine-tune, as I understand it, I'm trying to find the best words to describe this. Um, when you train a model, you change the weights on the layers, right? And at some point, when you stop the training, it's not that you need to start from zero, but the weights are tuned in a way that it already gives a great example of it. Now, I've done this, for example, with models that were trained with thousands of images and recognitions for specific objects. So the model can recognize, for example, this is a cup, right? Well, yeah, this is a cup. That and a thousand more, right? Well, yeah, a thousand more objects. But for my specific use case, I need them only to differentiate between, for example, apples and oranges. I don't need the other classes, right? So in that, I keep the weights and I change the last layer. So I change the final output, right? And fine tune, it's moving the weights on of the layer of well, yeah, the whole network a little bit to refine specifically for your system. Sorry, I got distracted because I saw a lot of comments here. So yes, the short answer will be fine tune. It's make the existing networks, not only the LLMs, um, fit your specific business idea, right? Uh, why, yes, Alberto, this is indeed my first time in a global highway. Hey, Quakers and Cheese, hello, I'm here. Is this being recorded for later? Yeah, the answer it's yeah, yes, it is. And you can find the recording in the YouTube channel of the Mainly Hacking. Yep, a lot like that. Difference is fine tuning is that you can actually change a bit of the architecture when fine tuning as a compared to something like a RAG, in which you don't touch the architecture. Instead, you use the cognitive capabilities of the model to make deductions. Yes, yes, I think this explains great the concept, and I have to admit I'm in a dilemma here because I told you what I understand for fine tuning. You need to change the weights of the model. So you don't retrain it from zero, but you adjust the training. But I also have seen things like this, in which they call fine tune not to change the weights or even touch the architecture or even touch the model at all, but use things like the rack or external, like yeah, like plugins to make change the output and refine it before it gets the final response to the user. So if I had to say like what's fine tuned with these two things in mind, I'll just say make the model, make the artificial intelligence change the output or the base output to something that fits your business needs. If you can do it like inside it, and you can like break it down and move a lot of things, that's great. That's like really knowing artificial intelligence. Uh, if you can do it with rack systems or other techniques that encapsulates logic and moves things, that's also great, and that's very proactive, and that's how to say this here, like in a normal way a lot of companies work. So that will be the answer. Hey, you're the same colors as me. I must now change. That's better. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, perfect. Quaker and cheese. Help me the link. Here's the link for you because you're new. YouTube. Majorly hacking. Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, so I hope that makes clear now, right? Um, Examples. Well, we see now what the LLMs are. Examples that you can relate a lot more are GPT-3, GPT-4, Alpaca, Vicuna. There are derivatives of Llama or Llama. There's also our Anthropic Cloud, Cohere, DeepSeek, Gemini, or in this case, the open source of it, that's Gemma, and we will see. So you can know better what I'm talking about, right? So the hard part here of how this works is that we need to understand that the architecture of a transformer is the backbone, and we have things called like the self-attention and the feed-forward layers, right? If this does not sound familiar to you, I really recommend you that to go check in the YouTube channels that was just shared. I give a class about introduction to artificial neural networks, and I explain a lot more in depth about this. For the moment, just think as the feed forward, as the if you have a number of layers on an artificial, sorry, or neural network, you just pass the information one way. Then self-attention is one. It's a great thing that it was introduced by the team of Google with a paper that I have here that you can actually get if you just Google attention, it's all you need. Attention, it's all you need. You just need to Google that PDF. It's publicly available. Thanks Google. And here you can start reading more about the breakthrough of what a transformer is, right? To summarize, we have the images here. For example, they explain a lot about the transformer model architecture. We have the inputs, the positional encoding, then we have the layers with multi-head attention, the add and normalization, well, the summative and normalization, the feed forward. Then we have another part, which is the encoding. Encoders there's another great term to talk about in neural networks, but basically how an encoder works, it's that you have like a big set of inputs, and you have an encoded output. There's our architectures that are called autoencoders because they have to reproduce exactly the same at the input and at the output. Of course, encoding it and then decoding it. And the great thing about here is that if you code it, and once it's trained and you can reproduce exactly the input at the output, you can cut it and then you can generate new things. And that's amazing. That's a great concept, right? That's a great idea, very innovative. Well, if you put it here for that type of terms and you combine it in this type of architecture, then you can have the transformers, right? Um, well, again, this is kind of complex, so I won't get too much into this, but you can check it out. Remember, attention, it's all you need. Well, yeah, that's it. Yeah, that one. Let me see. Sorry. No, 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 no. Yeah, I was just making sure, but yeah, I think it is. Thanks for sharing, Quakers. Uh, we talk about the positional encodings. We talk about the model sizes, the layers and heads, and well, the transformer architecture, which is the backbone. I remember your neural network with MATLAB stream. Yeah, and yes, thank you. Um, I should probably read the paper. Yeah, you should. It's amazing. Let me. Thank you so much. I definitely will be looking for those video after this. Thank you. Yeah, don't worry. Uh, but talk about neural networks just a couple hours ago too. Oh, that's great. I didn't know they have another session. Let me check the agenda for that. Um, Wikipedia. Intro to neural network with TensorFlow. Yeah, with TensorFlow with Charbel. That's amazing also. But yeah, you can totally check all the content we have in the melee hacking for these types of knowledge, and I think it is very, very helpful. I'm actually going to be streaming this week too, and a large part of the stream goes understanding the ideas behind neural networks, although they are very beginner friendly. Oh, that's great. If you could share the link, that will be very helpful for a lot of the audience here. Um, yeah, I should probably read the paper. I remember your neural network with MATLAB stream. Yeah, the thing about my stream is that I try to give it really, really vanilla. Actually, for example, the previous one with Charbel, it's with TensorFlow, which is great. Don't get me wrong. My intention in doing that in MATLAB, it's that yes, of course, there are MATLAB tools for that. Actually, in the last part, I think we used the generation tool. I cannot remember how that was called, but the first two was pure mathematics and pure vanilla for understanding them. Actually, if I remember well, I shared the code. Well, here's my repo, right? My GitHub, so we can go there. There is one book I really recommend you, which is Neural Network Science, and yes, of course, this is the link for that repo, well, the repo for the session. In here, you can find architectures that are reproduced manually by me, like fully from scratch, and you can understand those better. This is object-oriented programming. I created the Adeline network, the Hamming network, multi-layer perceptron network, the perceptron, just like that. And yeah, those four. I think those four networks are great to understand what's happening in artificial neural networks. I am planning to expand this with convolutional neural networks, but I think that's a little bit more complex. So I probably won't be doing that in pure MATLAB because I have life. And as I mentioned at the end of those series, I probably be doing that in Python because I can save a lot of time with the libraries in Python. Actually, I'm planning to use a lot more PyTorch for giving these. Now that we have the basics understanding in pure vanilla MATLAB, well, I will be using PyTorch for the next. I think right now the room is getting a lot darker, so let me turn up the lights. Give me a second, I'll be back. Yeah, much better now. Okay, perfect. Great conversation here on comments. Let's keep with that. Is it mainly hacking YouTube channel or do you have your own? No, it's mainly hacking. Yeah, I don't stream by my own. Oh, that's awesome. Yes, I think you're mentioning the for a fun stream, right? Are you referring to the link to MLH YouTube or the event I'm going to be talking? Oh yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, you can say Python It's Pro. Yeah, again, I don't want to get into this talk about the which programming language is better. They all are great for some things. JavaScript is just great for all. Uh, but yeah, I do have the question also. Where are you going to be streaming for? Give us the link, please, so we can watch. And let's continue with this. Then that's the structure and how it is architected. But the how it works, it is to be pre-trained, then train, then fine-tune, then interfere. Right now, we are just going to be interfering the long language model. We are not going to be doing fine tuning or else at the next parts for the rack one, then we will be doing that. Oh, thanks. I'm going to be taking this event. Oh, that's perfect. Here is. I'll take a look to that. Let's see. It's events.mlh.io/events slash 1265.1. Introduction to generatives. Okay, yeah. Generative artificial networks. Yes. Yeah, that's what Gang is, right? Okay, perfect. Let's continue with this. Well, a little bit more explanation here. The training, it's unsupervised on web scale. This does not reflect like the how they all are done. This is just I can't remember from which model I take this. I think it was for DeepSeek. Unsupervised on web scale text, then next token prediction objective, then use reinforcement learning with human feedback for alignment, and unsupervised curated prompts with responses. Yes, well, this term RLHF, reinforcement learning with human feedback. It's when, okay, now we know that we can train, and you probably heard of this, with supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning, right? Well, we realized that if we combine a lot of these for training the models in general, not only LLMs again, we have better results. And the specific reinforcement learning with human feedback refers to when you start interacting with the LLM and you say, for example, hey, um, I don't know, what's this? You ask something and then you receive a response. And you can say, hey, I think you're wrong because of this and this and this and this. And then the model learns from that. That's human reinforcement learning with human feedback. Simple as that, but geniusly implemented. There's another one I'm currently studying that it's reinforcement learning with physics. What's the name of that? Let me. I had the article about here. Physics informed machine learning, and it's just great. I have to say because it's like if you not start with a model that um, starts learning from scratch, but you give physics knowledge to the model so you can predict better systems that requires knowing like physical stuff, right? So there are many ways we can train models in general, but the community is getting very creative. I really pay attention to my tone. My managers all of the one responding to my AI. My manners and all of that when responding to AI. Okay, yeah, sorry, I needed to say this. I really pay attention to my tone, my manners, and all of that when responding to my AI. Yeah, that's interesting because actually, yeah, our AI actually get feedback from that, and it depends on how you like to interact with it, with he, with she. I don't know. Um, it changed its behavior. It's like talking to babies and toddlers. They learn from our responses. Yeah, exactly like that. That will save you during the robot apocalypse. Yeah, commonly mentioned that joke. Sometimes it seems to give better answer when I am rude. To be honest, that's an interesting. How to say that will be interesting to actually put that in a test. Like, try giving a polite way to ask something, and then like a rude one, and well, compare both. Uh, but yeah, let's continue with this. I am going to introduce you to Olama. Llama, it's a tool that's really efficient for, well, the way I like to put this, it's like a Docker, but for LLMs, right? If that makes sense to you, you're in the next side, right? Right? You can stop your brain right now, stop putting attention to me, and you'll have all the ideas here. If that does not mean anything to you, that's fine. Let's keep exploring with this. Uh, Llama is a tool that helps you manage all your language models, right? You can use it in your CLI, and it has the daemon for processing all the hard stuff and all the things that we don't want to mess up with. You can simply install Llama in your computer, pull a model, and run it. Simply as that. I swear, it's just 3 steps. Then we can interact with that in our local computer. It's built in top of a lot of. It is. I can't remember the name of that, but it was with C. It supports tooling that's now called agents, I think, and multimodal inputs and outputs. Right. So let's continue and let me see if you have any questions here. Lol, that's what I tell my husband. I'm doing when I calls when I'm doing when he calls me crazy for being polite. I always say also thank you and stuff. But there's another interesting talk about that, and we are consuming a lot of energy, people. I have to say that. If you give more talking processes for the LLMs, you're wasting energy, and that's not cool. So let's keep it short. Let's improve our prompts, and let's try to keep researching for making AI more sustainable, right? Um, yeah, I'm going to be the first to get terminated. Okay, let's continue. So no questions on Alama, right? So another alternatives we can use to Alama, it's the great people of Hugging Face have the Transformers Accelerate. There's Llama.cpp, which is only a small version of Llama with CP only. There is GPT for all. There's MLC LLM, text generation web UI, Hugging Face text generation interface. Well, there are many clients we can use, but the one I recommend for its simplicity, for the great support of the community, and for uh, well, that's just it. The simplicity and the great support of the community. Olama. Can these local LLMs learn over all conversations and how and work with all modalities of data? It depends on the model, and we are going to check that in just 1 second. Actually, I think it's a great time to open or Llama. Um, let's go to Google. Oh, sorry. Let's open a new tab and hit Llama, right? Llama.com. Get up and running with large language models. Run DeepSeek, Queen, Llama, Gemma, and other models locally. Simply as that. You can download it directly from here. If you have Mac OS, you can also use Brew. If you have Windows, again, Windows always complicate everything. You have Linux, well, you know more than me, so just download Olama. Then we can discover the models. Here in the models, we can see the ones we can be interesting in. For example, DeepSeek, right? For example, this one's the latest. DeepSeek has positioned as the open source model right now more capable, right? In benchmarks, it goes again things like OpenAI O0, which it's not open source, against the name OpenAI, um, Gemini dot Find Pro, and well, others that do are open source, for example, Cumin 3. And there is also DeepSeek. For example, in this table, you'll be wondering why there's two DeepSeeks. Well, we need to put attention to the models. And there's the O528, and there is the R1, right? Just R1. And difference is again that these ones, the full that has been that's the current company it's using, and this one it's the open source we can use. So of course it won't be better. They have all the right to save all weights values, but the model is there and we can use it. And it depends on for example the number of parameters that we can perform. For example, here, the DeepSeek R1 has received a minor version update to this DeepSeek R1 0528 for the 8 billion parameters distill model and the full 671 billion parameters model. So it depends on the number of parameters. The bad news, it's put attention to this table and put attention to the size of the model of the 6,071 billion parameters. It's almost half terabyte of size. I don't have space in my computer for that. And for your question, it's the input just text. So let's keep exploring with other models. For example, Llama. Llama is Meta's latest multimodal models. So in the inputs, we can check text and images. So we can have that. Also, size, it's something to have in mind. It's less, just 245 gigabytes. There's a smaller one of 68 or 67, gigabytes of parameters. Uh, we have Llama leading multimodal intelligence. So the output can also be multi-language text and code, but not images. The input, it could be multi-language text and images. So this is a one that big interesting to try, that it can be really really interesting, but unfortunately I don't have that much space. I do know one we can try, and that's Hema or Gemma. I don't know how to pronounce it either. The current and most capable model that runs on a single GPU, or in my case, or many of you can also say a CPU, right? And they have a really small model of just 1 billion parameters and less than a gigabyte. And thankfully, we can run that. So we have the model that has a 32K context window. Of course, with more parameters, we can increment the window context. And well, if we have that evaluation here, the performance of the 27 billion parameters, it's really great actually. So in the benchmark results, it competes like this. We have the benchmark test, the metrics against the GEMA different models, and well, also with multi-language capabilities, right? It also accepts text and images, departing not with the first with of the 1 billion parameter, but for the 4 billion, the size is not that huge. Actually, there's only 3.3 gigabytes, so it's also interesting to have that in your own computers. And even the 27 billion parameters, which is the one in the dashboards, sorry, in the benchmarks we just see, there's less than 20 gigabytes. So I think a lot of your computers can handle this, right? Um, hey, the new Raspberry Pis have a GPU, right? It can run this. Um, the question is tricky because it's not all about the GPU, it's more about the architecture. But remember, Raspberries or ARM, fortunately, now they do support a lot of ARM thanks to Apple Silicons because we are also in our ARM architectures. Actually, in the morning there was a session about that kind of things, long language models with ARM services. It was hosted by I think Jonathan was there and Alex, and one that's yeah, I can't remember his name or her name, but you should check that actually. You should see what's happening there and knowing more about the thing of running ARM services, right? If you're planning to go deeper with Raspberry. Huh. IMHO, no, they cannot learn per se without being retrained, as they are unsupervised learning with a goal of next text prediction. It's like a massive brain trained on internet data and told to be a parrot. Yeah, I can agree with that. That's a great explanation. Why do even the higher parameter models have the same context window of 128K? To be honest, I don't know. Like, why it does not change that much between the 4, 12, and 27 billion parameters? I think that's a great question, and I will say it depends on what you're trying to to meter here, right? Um, Probably it changes a lot. Feature of 100 context window for I think the parameters will help in other terms, not only in the window context it provides. But yeah, I think that's a great question. Huh? Yeah. No, no, not sure. I'm sure. At least with geometry. Uh, I meant to ask, DLS it remember access to past conversations stored locally? Oh yeah. So for this, that's the context window. What it is for. So it does, but again here, for example, we just have 32, well, yeah, for the one we are using, which is the 1 billion parameters, yeah, we have 32K context window for that. Swift has that with the guys for our, oh yeah, okay, the chat context include all the past conversations in that thread. Often with some model providers there is a token limit, yeah, which you can easily run with longer text being stored in the conversation. Usually starting a new conversation will reset it and avoid the token limit. Yes, yeah, I agree. Sorry, I got busy. Did you download the geometry? Yeah, we're going to do that in second. We haven't do that yet. We were just talking about models and what you can find in Olama's page. Should we be downloading the Olama setup now? Yes. I was giving time for that. Hit download to download Olama. It sounds to me like AI will be able for IoT soon. That will be weird when every device is checking and listening to us. Oh, you're talking about a very interesting area that it's giving hardware more AI abilities. I was in a conferences last week and they were talking about this and the idea they have it's like okay for general purpose architecture of computing right now that it's very costly like digital processing of the neural networks it's complex and what's happening right now it's that we are just acquiring data from the devices but then processing them in cloud right and they mentioned one thing that's AI on the edge. So if you're interested, go and Google for Mythic. I think that was a company they mentioned that's actually doing analog hardware for processing machine learning in the device, right? So yeah, that will be real IoT. Um, honestly, I like to keep my hands manual. Yeah, I like to have like a combination of both. Like, don't get things too complicated. I was with a friend last yesterday, and I was like very impressed because he did not touch the turn the switch for turning off the lights or turning it on. He was just talking like Echo, turn on the light, Echo, turn off the light, Echo, and I was like, I think you spend more time giving that instruction because he was just step next to the switch, and I was really impressed with that. In my honest opinion, I don't like to do that. Yeah, I do to keep my turning off lights manual. If the room is too big, then it makes sense, but it was not. So we checked what we can do with Olama, right? And models that are available. And we thought we are going to do this with Gemma, right? So first, let's go through the slides and let's repeat that then in Visual Studio. So install Llama. Again, you can do it directly going to olama.com/download. If you have Linux, you can curl olama.com/install.sh. In Mac, you can use brew, or again go to the install page in the web of Olama. For Windows users, you know what to do. The exec and stuff. Once you have installed it, then you can check Olama flag version just to make sure it's installed, and then we're going to run Olama run Hammer 3 the double dot 1b, which is for the 1 billion parameter model. Remember, it the size of it's less than a gigabyte, so that's why I recommend using this. Quakers and cheese, not sure if you could run geometry on Raspberry Pi. Some models require a lot of VRAM on the GPU. Also, the Piece video core GPU isn't optimized for running machine learning models, according to this Ultralytics video. Sorry, repo. That's great. That's a great resource. Thank you for sharing, Fashik. Oh, I didn't hit the show message. Sorry. Here now. Um so returning here to the practical guide, once you run this, the first time you will see a prompt like UI shell, UI shell interface, that saying like you can hit anything, and that will be as replicating the interface of a chat, right? So you can test your model it's running, you can close it, then you can use Olama PS to make sure it's still running or you actually kill it, and you can just run Olama again, don't worry. For the third step, we are going to check with the API integration that actually we have that running in our local computer, right? Because we don't want to interact it just in the shell. We want to interact it in the real world. And the real world, it's web browsers. Uh, so we are going to make a curl to this local host, to the specific port, slash API slash generate. If you have questions about this, you can check in the Discord, sorry, in the GitHub of the Olama. Give a second for it to load. Again, give it a second to load. My internet's kind of bad right now. Well, the point is that they have an API service that we can access with curl. You need to specify the model, the prompt, and I recommend to you. It depends on your use case, but for the moment we are going to set stream as false. Else you're going to receive a stream of data, and the flag for it to finish. But for us, we are just going to wait for the final result. Uh, for more information about this, here on the repo, you can check out the custom model, CLI reference, no, the API reference. Okay, REST API. Um, there's the API documentation. It's loading again. But the point again is that we can see what we can do here. Come on, come on, you can do it. Oh my god, it's slow. Also, if you can see in Mac, the again that this is why I mentioned it's like the Docker for LLMs. There's the Olama button here on top of my computer, as if I had it on Docker, and I can quit it, but I won't because I'm streaming. Um, okay, yeah, it loaded now. So here on the API references, we can check, we can use the generate competition, but also there are more endpoints we can hit. For example, let me find another one. Okay. Well, as you see, they have well explain everything. Generate the competition, generate a chat competition, which is different. Create model, list local models, switch model information, copy the model, delete the model, blah blah. All right. Oh, let me drink some water. Okay, great. And now we test it, and let's think we managed to have it right. Um, in a practical sense, I'm going to put that same query to, query to the REST API, but in a Python code. And we are going to define a function, which is query llama. We are going to test that, and if it works, then we are going to pass to the last step, which is creating a Streamlit chat with it. Why Streamlit? Because it's easier if we're in Python, right? If you don't know what Streamlit is, don't worry, you will love it. It's a library, Python package that can help us create UI interfaces in web using just a Python, right? It handles the rest for us. I'm not sure, but I think they inside use not even JavaScript, but WebAssembly. I think they used to do that. It works perfect. Great. So you get on top of us. Let's reach you, this stranger. So I'm going to open my terminal and I'm going to put it here. Let me make it bigger so you can appreciate what's in here. Okay, I think that's big enough. I'm going to say llama version just to make sure I have it installed. If you don't, again, go to troubleshoot and restart your terminal. Also, that helps. Sometimes the installation indeed is right, but you need to restart the terminal. Then I'm going to run llama run hammer 3 double dot 1 billion ground. And it's pulling the model from the remote repository. This probably will take time the first time. Actually, I delete my previous one so that I can pull it again. I don't think now that's a great idea because I don't have good internet, but hey, sometimes decisions are hard and sometimes I just don't think clearly. Um, let's wait for that. And then I already have the code for the curl, so I just need to copy this and we'll see this. We just are missing 25% more. That's great. 20%. Come on, 10%. And we're done. Oh, oh well, yeah. Step 1 of 7, I think. Um, Perfect. So send the message. Hi, who are you? It's syncing. Hey there, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. It's good to be chatting. How about you? How's your day so far? Are you up for a conversation or do you have anything you like to talk about? That's a great response. I often do not think clearly. Yeah, you get me. So let's just exit and let's do Olama PS. Right now I have running HEMA 3 and I think we can do this. We are going to make a curl to the specific port that Olama is serving the API, sorry, the API endpoint slash generate. We're going to make that in a detached mode, and we'll have to specify in the body the model, the prompt we are looking for. And again, I would recommend you to use string false. If you don't want to do string false, you will see this output. You see, and I think it's not clear. It's not readable for us at the moment. Probably for a UI that handles this processing, it will be more. But for us at the moment, it is not. Actually, I'm going to cut it because this is getting too large. And right now, I'm going to paste the full with the string false. Or you're eating your bandwidth. Yeah, sorry. You froze the minute I missed sound. Okay, I'm sorry. Uh, I got choppy while you were doing that. Yeah. That's why I recommend the stream falls. You get the point. If you missed some steps, let me go ahead again. You need to say Llama version to make sure it's installed, then run the geometry. If you don't have the image locally, it will pull it from the repo. Don't worry, for remote. Then you will see the chat interface like in shell. You just hit slash exit and make sure running Olama PS that you have running the model of HAMA tree, right? Then we need to test it, and we are going to do it using crawled app generate, blah blah blah. The model we need to specify it, the prompt you want to pass, and I really and strongly recommend using the string false so we can have an output like this. Probably will take time generating the response. Don't worry, your shell didn't freeze. Just need to get the output of this. And actually, I do think that consume a lot of my bandwidth. But hey, we have the response here. A lot of information, blah, blah, blah. Model, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's break down why the sky is blue. This is the thinking process. Um, no, I think this doesn't have thinking. Does it has? Okay, let's check the model for that. I think they don't. I cannot remember. I was playing with DeepSeek the other day, and they do have thinking response. No, this is the full response. Yeah, let's break it down. Why the sky is blue? It's a surprising, complex phenomenon. Yeah, but the main reason it spoils. Well, I did not going to explain, and I'm not planning to give actually the response. But hey, this works now. Let's go with Python. Yeah, much better now, of course. uh, let's go to Python, right? And we have or try the local LLM, which only requires the request library. We define or query Olama function, and in the main, you just need to enter your prompt directly on the Python shell. Then we're going to call this using the same endpoint. We just grab this using Python instead of you doing shell directly, and the reason of this it's just for you to be more familiar, right? Let me make this bigger. Sorry, I always forgot to do that. Perfect. Let's try then. You need to activate your Python environment. Well, I do recommend using Python environments. For commodity, sometimes I use Conda, I have to admit it. But a microconda. And then we use Python try local LLM to run it. And I'm going to say the same, like why the sky is blue. And let's wait for the output. I usually use Visual Studio. Okay, oh yeah, okay, I have a success and it's asking if I want to send a message. Um, you mean like running Python? When you run this Python? Yeah, if you run it, you'll see this, okay, the large response. Enter your prompt. This was defined by us. And or what you mean with it asked me if I want to send a message. I don't get it. Okay, remember this code? You can find it in the repo I shared with you at the beginning. If you miss it, don't worry. Here's the repo again. It's no, this is not the one. It's github.com/alberthor47 slash local flag LLM, right? No, I just finished all this telling of llama. Oh yeah, I get you. Yeah, when you run it, it asks you if you want to send a message. You can send a message just to try that the model works fine, and then just hit slash exit. Run then. Well, the terminal or the bash it's going to close, and then run Olama PS just to make sure that the model keeps running, and that's it. And then you can try with the curl here, right? Remember Olama PS, and you should see the model that's running. Perfect. Uh, Now we have this on the local one, right? The thing is that we need to interact this in somehow, right? And not only us, right? If you think of it, you can make deployments on this, and then not use in the next time the API for OpenAI or the API of well, I do recommend using the API of Gemini because you have it for free, right? And you have the Flash model, which is great. But let's say that you can use Hema or anything else. The discussion on why to use a local model better than an API or anything, we can pass that for the second and just trust me, like why you can do this or why you want to do this. The point is you can do it. Actually, we didn't expect the output, but yeah, we believe the output of this. Many reasons. Let's break down why the sky is blue, blah blah blah. Sound like it's a mix of colors, the Earth atmosphere, why blue dominates, why not violet. Important note: the sun rises and stuff. Um, let's try to give this a UI, a beautiful UI. And for that, I created this chat API script. So we install Streamlit. Well, we import Streamlit as ST. We do require a request again and JSON one. We have our same or query Olama function. We can close it. We set a title for the page. In this case, it's Hema, why not, free LLM chat, messages, incoming messages, and the prompts, right? So let's do a Streamlit run chat API. And it opens a new page. And now we can enter our message. Hey, why the sky is blue? Well, let's think as if we were talking. Hello, how are you? I have a question. I don't know if you can help me. But why the sky is blue? Like, really random question. And we send it. And again, it's thinking. Actually, this is hitting by this, but we have the running process here, so we can now have in a visual way that is this is not just pause, but actually this is running and this it's thinking of our response, right? Um, and we have it. You. Hello, how are you? I have a question. I don't know if you can help me, but why the sky is blue? Hello there, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. And yes, absolutely. I'll be happy to help you to understand why the sky is blue. It's a really fantastic phenomenon. It's like talking to a body, right? I can feel this energy. Um, well, and the response, right? And then we can actually, I need to clear that this is open source, so you can do the feature of after you send a message, clear the input. Um, Enter your message, rate, and why it isn't, I don't know, green. Again, it's thinking. You're right to ask. It's ambiguous, but the question why it isn't really a one point. Here's the breakdown. Volcanic. Here's the breakdown of why the Earth isn't green. Okay, this is interesting because the window context didn't recognize it as the sky. It says it's a bit ambiguous, but the question why it isn't green, it's a really great one, and it points a fascinating aspect of how the Earth's surface is formed. So you have to have in mind that actually this model it's less than the gigabyte, so I wasn't expecting that of outstanding performance. But this was the idea of letting you know how you can do this locally. If you can find a hardware for doing this and connecting to other services and do a lot of engineering, you probably be able to run not only the shorter size model, but one of the largest. Again, HEMA is great, and it does not have one of the biggest size. We checked how the full 627, or I don't know how many billion parameters for DeepSeek, was just half terabyte. Are we using the 1 billion gamma model? Yes, we are using the 1 billion one. So great to have. Let's ask for something else. Um, hey, do you remember remember last question? And let's send that. Yes, you're asking about the previous conversation we had. I remember we discussing briefly mentioned the topic of the last discussion. You like to go over again, but actually, I think this is not about the window context. I think I'm messing up because this is just the define query for generate. I think we should be doing all the documents are here. Generate the chat completion. Generate the next message in chat with a provided model. Yeah. This is a straightening point. So there will be series of responses. Streaming can be disabled. Okay, parameter model message. Okay, yeah. Let's change this to chat. And let's restart stream just to make sure. I found it. Okay, that's great. You found it. Tree. It's loading. Hi, my name is Alberto. Aren't we waiting? Model. I think I break it. Let's wait. Parameters. We pass the model. Oh yeah, there is no prompt here. The message, and well, the message is prompt. So tools, list of tools. Yeah, no. The message always has the following fields. Role. Oh, my second monitor died, so I need to find where the yeah where the Hey, I'm sorry, my computer died. No, not my computer. Firefox. Firefox did die. Oops, that's your. Yeah, sorry. Also, I missed all the previous comments. I'm just seeing these first the Quakers and cheese now. Oops, there you are. So if you ask something, please ask it again because I cannot see the previous comments. And let's continue. Sorry. Let's allow and let's share screen, loud, and yeah, the whole screen, of course. Perfect. So here we are, and we're here. We were checking about the difference between the post to generate and the chat, and we will finish with that, and then we can continue. Oh, I'm not sharing yet. Oh, here we are. Yeah, and then we can continue. Roles, structure, outputs, model, messages, role. Okay, I get it. We need to add messages. Okay, messages. And then the prompt. And in here, when we call llama, we need to add another thing that it's if messages not in state session messages for messages blah 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 user bot uh-huh and then we pass these messages um, prompt input and set and prompt, let's say uh-huh great suggestion, but let's ask something um, here instead of directly passing the prompt send the message list with well, yeah, just like that. Yes, because we have the role and the content. Okay. Okay. Yeah, accept that. Messages, role, user, content, user for uh, prompt. Okay, let's try with that now. That's why. Model. No, but okay. Let's response changes. I'm guessing. Final response. Created ad message. Role assistant. Chat response and it's streaming. Okay, this is the request and response will be message. Okay, response raise for status, get return data get. Okay, yeah, it's different because we have messages instead of response, right? Uh-huh. See, yes, this response. So message role. Okay, let's try it again. Hi, how are you? Okay, perfect. Hey there, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. Hi, my name is Albert. What's yours? My name is Hannah. How are you? Okay, so now, if can you remember what was the first question I did to you? Yeah, how are you? So perfect. Yeah, the problem wasn't the context. The problem was I was using the wrong API because it's aiming for generate responses as singly as that as a chat one that has the context. So my bad on that. Um, could you please update the code in your GitHub project as well? Yeah, don't worry. Actually, I am going to do that in a second. But first, let's add this to stage and let's close as we should. Uh, let's talk about the future work. For part two, in Monday, we are going to because yeah we build a beautiful UI using Streamlit. Yeah, that's true. But I found one that it's amazing. Actually, this is a hint on that. Open web UI. Actually, this one it's recommended even by the Olama team. For example, here on Graph and Community, this is the first one, Open Web UI. You will see they are the same. Open Web UI. I'm sharing. Yeah, I'm sharing. Here you can find the wrapper for the perfect chat interface with Alarm. Actually, it's just phenomenal. Open Web UI, it's an extensible, feature rich, blah blah, user friendly, super cool, woke, a lot of things. But the thing is that it supports also the runners like Olama, and it has integrations for building racks and MCPs and tools, right? So that's why we're using this. So the next session, I'm going to show you how to set up this. Actually, it's really simple again. And also I'm going to give you, sorry, I'm going to teach you how to implement this integration in Visual Studio to chat directly with your local LLM in Visual Studio with a plugin. Not need to connect to other providers. I'm going to show you, for example, here on my Visual Studio, I have two providers, which are in Ru. I use Ru. Oh my God. I use Ru to connect to Gemini, uh, but also I use Copilot. So Copilot Chat, you see, and I'm using GPT, but also there's Gemini, there's Cloud. Remember, um, you have the opportunity to use Copilot because you're a student. So you have GitHub Copilot for free. You can have access to a lot of models. If you don't, there's tools like Ru that you can use with a connection to an API key to services like OpenAI, to services like Gemini, things that you can pay for, the things that you have free tires, and so on. But also the last alternative is that you can run your local models, your local long language models, and connect to them directly with Visual Studio, which I think it's great. Why I have the three of them? Well, because I need to teach you, right? Else I'll be using just Copilot just for simply commodity. I have to admit it, for simplicity and well, I have it free since I'm a student. In future, since now I think AI is part of my current workflow developing, I probably using a self-hosted local, yes, long language model, but that's it. So I will show you how to do that. And finally, production serving using Docker. That's it. Well, I hope you have questions because if you don't, I will feel like I didn't explain good enough. uh, if you want resources for the repository, here it is again, GitHub slash Alberto47 slash local LLM. I will love the changes just when the session finishes. If you have any feedback, we will love to hear it. Please go to link slash global hack week feedback and let us know what you think of the session. Um, the next point will be just join us for the part two. And finally, if you have any question, uh, hit the comments. One is part two that will be on Monday, and the hour. Give me a second, I will tell you exactly. Monday, 20 hours ET time. And you can find the agenda, of course, as always, in globalhackweek.mlh.io slash schedule, I think it is. I will share the link. Yeah, here it is. And well, thank you for joining. I'll be ending this stream in a few minutes. So if you have any question, now is the time. I know you probably have a lot of them and a ton of them, but you don't know how to put it in simple words. Don't worry. If you want, I'll be in Discord every time, so you can always find help not only from me, from the community. So make sure that you are on Discord. Thank you. No, thanks to you. I hope you like this session. And if there's not much trouble, let me know. Like, fill the form I shared here in the comments. All the feedback is good. If you even if you didn't like something, like, hey dude, I totally hated when you were explaining this because I didn't understand it. It helps a lot because I can improve, and the next time I will try to explain better. Thank you, Alberto. And oh, thank you, Quakers. You were amazing with sharing the resources and the links. I have one question. Yeah, go ahead, hit it. What's the question? Well, another thing I like to share it's that even though I think right now like artificial intelligence it's in streak of popularity, I really recommend if you're not that interested in learning deep understanding of how they work, learning these type of things. For example, what LLM is, how you can interact with it, how you can make use and not only use but good use of it. I just finished step two, so I run all the steps in the terminal. I send it. Okay, yes. Step two was let me recall. Let me see my slides. Olama run geometry. Okay, yeah. The step three will be copy that piece of how to say that of bash scripting, the curl to HTTP localhost and generate. Uh-huh. And hit it send and wait some minutes. It depends on your computer, and you will have the result. Oh, and don't forget the stream false if you don't want to see a lot of information. That makes sense. Well, I hope you like it. Again, thanks so much for joining. And I have the GitHub open. Yeah. And you mean, well, while you finish like the explanation of what's happening, I'll uh, go to the code and commit the changes and send it to the repository. I changed the README, I changed the slides, and I modified these. Uh, did I change? Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, fine. Perfect. So you have them now, and I can close this. And yeah. Perfect. So you have the repo updated now. For the steps inside means while you were doing. Oh yeah, no worries. Okay, so you have the GitHub updated now. Don't worry, you will find all the information there to replicate what we were doing here, and I think that will be it. Rote, Maddie, and all the great audience from the session. Thank you so much, and I'll see you. I hope to see you soon. Bye. Have a great weekend.